What's up, everybody? So, almost home, so I'm doing this kind of late, but I had a good listen at my grandmother, my nana, and it is amazing, absolutely amazing that it took me 50 years to hear some of the stuff I heard from her in about an hour or so. It took me 50 fucking years. And in some ways, it's upsetting, but I think there's a lesson in it just for Black families and families in general. Black families specifically, families in general, American families in general. Y'all hold too much stuff back. Hold too much goddamn stuff back as information centered in just, I don't mean this shit disrespectfully, but just women. Because they have too many petty fucking concerns that keeps information from getting to people who it can be useful about. Useful too. Fucking hell, dude. The shit is empowering and irritating all at the same time. Empowering because I heard it. Now I and put it in some kind of fucking written form context or whatever so it can be passed on to the next generation behind me. But it's just old stories, old names, old places, old dates, not written down anywhere. And only coming out of people who are old and close to knowing their mortality is probably going to fail them. So now they want to say all of this shit. Now they want to get it all out. Like, motherfucker, you should have wrote a book or something. Been passing it down to all the generations. Like, time is almost gone now to try to disseminate all this information. Because you're so pissed off at each other over petty ego shit, you won't pass on the information. Or people don't get to hear the information because they wrapped up in having to take sides and shit. Like, oh my God, dude, that is so fucking tiresome. So fucking tiresome to me. Sorry, dude. I'm trying to send these messages to my homeboy, and they're not going through. I don't know why his phone is not working correctly. But anyway, I heard some shit tonight that was really empowering. Some of it was really funny. It was. And some of it was sad in a way. That I didn't know this stuff when these people were around. Like, one of the things was interesting that my nana said was about her husband, Hux, right? And how she misses him. 45 years together, she misses him, right? Because he took care of a lot of it preventatively that she never had to deal with. Know nothing about it. And simple shit. Just like the rain gutters needed to be cleared on the house. So when it rains, they're not overfilling it, breaking down and shit. Painting the walls, trimming the trees, stuff like that. Now, mind you, my grandmother would be considered a matriarch in her generation, right? Her saying this stuff is her learning the worth of a man, learning one man's worth. And seeing her at 86, realizing this shit and thinking about women my age in their 50s, in their 40s, in their 20s, thinking they know every goddamn thing, and how men ain't useful for nothing but some D, if that. They don't know what the fuck they talking about. It just drives the point home how little they actually fucking know about what the worth of a man is. And like it was being reiterated, listen to Kevin's video this morning. It's being reiterated now. That end of life section that you asses will be in, and the titties are sagging, the booty don't look so good no more. You couldn't cut meat to get a dick thrown in your face. You're gonna be missing a man. You're gonna be missing him. You're gonna be thinking back on every one of those decent men that you ran away, didn't have no time for, he was beneath you, all that dumb shit. You're gonna be thinking about that. You're gonna be thinking about that dude. And you're gonna be missing that shit. I can tell you this. Not I loved her husband. But one of the things that she said was poignant was that although she misses him, she can hear him every day. Anytime she turns on the fucking TV and hears a commercial, she knows where they got that from. Because he was a musician. He was a reggae-based musician. And a lot of work that he created, he gave away to people. Because back in Jamaica, they didn't know they could get paid for that shit. It was before all this royalty crap. So they gave people all kind of music, all kind of stuff. One she told me about was I Take You There, Staple singing. Didn't know that man did the bass in the beginning of that. He gave them that shit. It's a song everybody knows. You don't know who was the dude playing the bass. It was her husband. Gave it away. Didn't even give a shit about it. Played with Bob Marley. Wanted him to be in the Wailers. He didn't want to do it because he couldn't. His words, she's telling me his words. He couldn't grow locks, and he didn't like the ganja. So he turned it down. They wanted him. Came to the house and begged him. He turned it down. This is who this man was. And it is absolutely consistent with the man I knew for 40-some years. But it pisses me off that I have to hear this shit after he's gone. What the fuck? Y'all hold on to shit too fucking long. You don't respect the people while they're there. You don't sing their praises while they're there. That's why I don't believe in this giving flowers bullshit. Don't give men flowers. Men don't need flowers. Women, bitches like flowers. Men like respect. Give them their fucking respect while they're here. Where they can hear it from you. Where they can see it in your actions. That's when it's important. After they dead and gone, all that blubbering and bullshit don't fucking matter. Because what is that doing for him? Not a goddamn thing now. And I'm not saying this because I'm pissed off at my nana. I'm not pissed off at my nana. She lived it. She know it. I'm kind of pissed off at everybody else around who didn't say shit. These are the stories my siblings, my peers, my cousins, this is the shit we needed to know growing up. When we was having all these family dinners and Thanksgivings and stuff like that, and we hanging around this man while he's alive, and the most we know about him, he played in the group, and he liked drinking rum and juice, hanging out with the Jamaicans in the back. This was the history we should have been getting while he was here. But no, he sat on that shit, took it for granted, blew it the fuck off unless he can get you tickets into a concert on some reggae show, drop his name so you can get some benefit for your fucking self. But nothing else. Younger generations don't even really know how bad of a man he was and how much respect he had from other fucking men that you actually know of. Fucking wasted. Time fucking wasted on egos and bullshit. And now I get to sit with my grandmother, my nana, hearing all these stories that I had never heard. Why? My mother wasn't telling them at all. Why not? Don't fucking know. I'd have to ask her to find the fuck out. Now, apparently she's known them forever, right? Why wasn't I getting them from her? Because we wasn't spending no time with the nana like that. It was always on the moms. Same reason I don't know a lot of stories from my father's side. Wasn't getting to spend a lot of time with him. So it paints a picture that these children were fucking isolated from anybody who could tell them some information outside of what you gave them. That's what it sounds like. And because of that, we suffer from that disconnection, that ego, that bitterness between two people that we ain't had shit to do with. Fucking pathetic, dude. Fucking pathetic. It's like finding out somebody who was pivotal in your life gave me my first job, gave my brother his first real paying job, actually helped us when we were trying to, rap and stuff like that, actually recording us and stuff like that, actually gave us all this fucking help. Don't know shit about none of this stuff this man has done. Didn't know that we were actually in the room with fucking reggae royalty, in a sense. He don't sit there and blow his own fucking horn about his accomplishments. That's your fucking job. If or peers, children, whatever, of a man in that house, that is your job to sing his praises. That ain't his fucking job. He too busy out there doing what he do. It's like people ask me doing construction, oh, you have any pictures of your work? No. I'm too busy doing it to be fucking standing around taking pictures. That's your job. Why pictures? Working. Has no time to stand back from him trying to create art and take pictures of himself. That's somebody else and who's with him. That's the one supposed to be telling everybody. Or the people who want to get this. That's their job. It ain't his. And that's point that my non mentioned that why she doesn't have to I'm back. If you guys can hear me, give me a one. If you me along, thank you, Malika. Turn on the boob lights. Uh-oh. All right. Let me connect to this bullshit. All right, so here's the thing that she told me. If you guys can hear me clearly, press one. I'm gonna make this shit short since I'm home now. And I need to get changed so we can go out and shoot some pool. Also, the black men never get our respect and praise, especially when we are alive. Fuck, dude. Everything gotta be fucking up. Default. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There we go. See if that works, makes it clear for y'all. What's good, Techie? About to get this thing to connect to the Wi-Fi. It's connected to the Wi-Fi, so hopefully it'll be better. So here's the thing. The last part that was poignant that my nana told me that is really sticking with me right now, and I want to get it recorded for posterity purposes, is that reason why she misses that man, but she can hear him in commercials and stuff like that, is something that she said, is that his work is everywhere. Now, the other part that she didn't say is that she doesn't have any. That's the thing. That's the trade off. That that man went out there, did just what his gift was to do, which was to play music, play bass, be a decent person to people, help people out, right? That legacy lives forever. His music, his work that he's put in on music lives. It's still around. Every time you hear it, hear that music, you're hearing him, right? But I looked at that as my grandmother, my nana, cannot say the same. Her work that she leaves behind is not the 30 goddamn years she put into the phone company. No. You were a cog in the machine, right?
What is it? It's your children and your grandchildren. And if the relationship with them is not good, you haven't really left anything behind. You haven't really made a difference. And that in some ways is sad because from a Nana's perspective, she's done a lot because she knows what she did and why she did it. The choices that she made, the decisions that she made. The hard ones or the easy ones or the difficult ones are the ones that still follow her to this day. But B, being a grandchild, you know the part that I heard? The part of the decisions I heard that she made was from the viewpoint of a child. And I wasn't the child telling me the story. So it's missing the context of the adult in the situation who knew exactly why they made the decisions that they made and what the reasoning was behind those decisions. And that is what I heard. Decisions that were made for a good reason that still got grown folks to this day pissed off and mad and resentful to their mama for some shit they have yet to understand as a child in that situation. This is the part that makes me upset because it means that in some ways people never fucking grow up. They never mature. They can mature in a lot of ways, but in some ways they never fucking mature because they never know how to look at that child that internalized that hurt and say, you were a child and you don't understand the situation. You might not even have all the fucking facts. Maybe you should talk to the person who does have the facts and accept the answer as being the answer. Not, well, that's just a version of the truth. No, actually, if they were the adult in the situation, that is probably the truth. Your recollection is just from a child's point of view. You ain't got all of it. You looking through a fucking keyhole and trying to tell everybody else who's standing in the room what the hell is going on. You don't know. You don't know all the ins and outs. You don't know the conversations that your ass wasn't a part of. And to base the rest of your life and the rest of your interactions with this one person on some kind of knowledge like that is absolutely ludicrous. But it happens all the time. And because of that, there's a lot of information that is not passed around because it's inconvenient. It's inconvenient. You don't know for sure anyway, so you shouldn't even be passing nothing around. Shouldn't even be nothing to say in your behalf. And that shit is sad. It leaves the rest of us behind, you guys, fucked up and missing out on a lot of stuff. Had I known earlier how bad of a man and how good of an influential musician this dude was, that I grew up with, mind you, my whole life. I've known him my whole life. That's the only husband I've ever seen my grandmother with, even though she had two previous ones, my grandfather and my uncle's father. That's the only man I've ever seen her with. He could have trained me to play bass. He could have. If my mother and her wasn't having such a rocky relationship where she wouldn't even let me go over there to be hanging out with her. like that. Wasted fucking opportunities. So when I have to hear about why somebody was offering to buy his guitars from him to put it in a museum in a casino and offering racks on racks, I would understand why he would not want to give that guitar up, what it actually means. Because the people that's offering them that money know what the fuck it means. But you know who don't know what it means? The same people that's seeing him all the time, every fucking holiday. They don't know what the fuck that's about. Because nobody bothered to fucking clue them in on it. Fucking dumb shit, dude. This is what makes the black family so fucked up. The American black family, this is what makes us so fucked up. You put all this authority and power and the fate of the whole family in the hands of people with too many petty fucking concerns to actually move it forward. Too many. Too much of their own personal bullshit in the way of everybody else actually loving, being together, and actually being able to have that understanding of who we are as family. Who we are as family. This man got a whole daughter and granddaughter I've never seen. Both medical school graduates living their life. We barely know anything about them. All this division shit with families and stuff, that's women shit. That is not men shit. That's women shit. Because only one woman would give a fuck about if that kid came from another woman or not. Only women care about that shit. Dudes don't give a fuck. You know how you know men don't give a fuck? AM was talking about this the other day. We give men shit for wanting to be stepdaddies. We give men shit for that. Because men have always found women who didn't have men and already had kids. Always have. Always will. That ain't no big deal to us. We'll come in and be a decent father and provide a role model. Because while my grandmother's husband is her husband, I've never called him granddad. Never have. Why? Because it pisses off somebody else. Never called him my grandfather. Even though that's the only husband I've ever known, ever seen my grandmother with. Make that make sense. You know why? Because if I called him grandfather, it would have pissed off somebody else whose father was married to her at one time. Women shit. No, Malika, we do and we don't. If it means you can profit off of it in some kind of way, then they love to throw that shit around. If it's gonna gain them some kind of standing. If it's not, they don't give a fuck about it. They're looking for something better. Because I can tell you this, just using a contemporary example, about a week ago, it would have been something to say you was Sean Puffy Combs' ex-girlfriend or kid. Say that shit today. Might not mean shit. Might not mean shit at all. Might be a reason for ridicule. Oh, they don't want that. You see that shit is happening because some chick was mad. They never care about it unless it gains them. So I heard a lot today that made me ponder some things. I heard a lot that made me question some things that I had heard before. And I have more context on the stories that I was told because understanding that stories always have three sides to them, I only heard one person's side of it. And whose side of the story did I actually hear? I heard the kid's side of the story, didn't hear the adult side of it. So who do I think has the truer version of what actually happened? The child in the situation or the adult in the situation? I think it'd be the adult because they know all the factors involved in the decisions that were made for the children's benefit. Kids don't. They only know what happened to them or what they didn't want to happen to them. Like it's known throughout parenthood, it ain't about what the fuck you did, it's always about what you didn't do. Because that's all kids know. I didn't get that pony I wanted. Fucker, you got an a four wheeler, but I wanted a pony. I didn't get the pony. But you totally forgetting about the trip we took for your birthday instead of the pony? Man, grow the fuck up. That's what it is. Silly shit. So that man's value, Hux, Linford Hux Brown, value was not in just working some menial job and doing it well. It wasn't in just giving me my first paying job, stuffing envelopes at that same company. Wasn't that? Wasn't giving my brother a job and helping my brother get himself straight and to have the job that he has now that he can retire from good. It wasn't in all the times that we spent time with him on family holidays and stuff, making the Jamaican patties, making the curry goat and stuff like that, and being there and listening to him laugh and them talking about him playing music and like, yeah, okay, okay, he played music, I guess. Wasn't all of that shit. It wasn't about all the times that he made us fucking laugh, telling his stories and learning how to listen to and understand patois. Wasn't all that. His value was in how he made my grandmother feel and how alone she did not feel and how alone she does feel now and how much he did for her that she had no clue about and now has to figure out at 86 years old while she's going blind and losing her hearing in the house that they bought together and living out her later years in life with her own grown children, not wanting to talk to her, not wanting to be involved, all Bunch of dumb shit. Bunch of dumb shit. It got to be the grandchildren to be there and actually help her out, show her some grace, show her some kindness after all these years. We the ones have to do the work. And for y'all who don't know, when you hear Angry Man going off about boomers and shit like that, this is that generation. Not my grandmother, her kids. These are that boomers generation kid folks. That's why I can rock with them on some of that shit. That's why. Because these people who cutting off their mama after their mama educated them and all the rest of that shit, because they got some petty grievance that they've been holding on to since they were fucking children and don't want to understand and don't want to listen to, resentful and all that shit, they fucking boomers. Boomer generation. What the fuck you want me to say about it? Yeah, Malika, some boomer bullshit. And we as Gen X are sitting there watching that shit say, that shit is wrong. Y'all know y'all wrong as fuck, right? That is some wrong shit. You don't understand. It's just this, and she just that. That's your fucking mama. So the fuck what? She been that way my whole life. What am I? If I ain't pissed off about it, why you so mad? Man, get over that shit. Y'all are so fucking petty. So goddamn petty. And always, 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 it's about some motherfucking money. Petty motherfuckers. Same people worried about money as the same people that wouldn't give your ass shit without a bunch of hooks in it so they can run you down and talk about you like shit. I tell people, look, that's why Gen Xers have the angst that we have. I tell these millennials and these Z's this shit. This is why Gen Xers have the angst that they have. Understand? Nobody gave a fuck about us. Really tried to keep us from having shit. Didn't want to give us anything. And we were supposed to be lucky for the little bullshit they gave us. That's why we go so hard. That's why we look at motherfuckers crazy. And this ain't no, you know, generational hatred or nothing like that. It's just understanding that you can call a spade a spade. This is what the fuck it is. This is what it's been. This is what it was. We was there. Don't be mad that we grown enough to say something about it. That's what you got to be accountable for. But don't be trying to write us off like we was fucking crazy, like we wasn't the ones there living with this shit and not seeing it. Man, never have. Never have. Or maybe it's just very few of us. Because I can tell you for that age group, they like picking their winners and losers. And they're usually wrong. Because their winners is always based on their ego. It ain't based on people who have talent. It's based on who they want to be successful. And if they don't want you, it ain't nothing they can gain off of you, or they don't think so, they ain't supporting your ass. They'll shortstop you. They'll talk shit about you. They'll undermine you. And that's your fucking family. You happen to become successful in spite of all that shit, then they want to be your best friend. Then they knew it all along. But they ain't helped you get nowhere close to that shit. Dumb shit. So, 86 years old, living out her days, in semi-darkness. Missing her husband 40 years. And now having to deal with mechanics and technicians and shit like that. You see this old lady walk in there, hunched over and slow, and want to try to take advantage of her ass monetarily at every turn. This fucking despicable. Despicable. I got up there to look at that HVAC system, y'all. Ain't nothing wrong with that goddamn system. Nothing. I turned the heat on. I fired that motherfucker up. And that motherfucker lit like a Roman candle and heated that house up instantly. The only thing I just now remembered I did not tell her is probably on a timer. That she can't see the program on that bitch. So it probably has a program where it shuts off. It's not set to where it'll just run and run. But what do these motherfuckers tell her? Oh, she need this new part here, she need this new part there. Nigga. Cause she don't know HVAC, they sitting there running the game on her. And I have to be the one, I guess, honest engine to tell her, you don't need all that shit. Your system is working fine. And if it's a brand new system like it is, we shouldn't need to replace none of that shit. And if they do, they need to be replacing that shit free. I'm not trying to charge you $800 for, $400 something dollars for a part that don't cost $400 something dollars. This time don't cost $400 something dollars. They just trying to get over. That shit is despicable. So, cost of a man, the worth of a man. You single, independent ass, bullheaded ass, blockhead ass chicks want to think that men ain't good for nothing but laying around in the bed and giving you an orgasm. When you think about when your ass get old, 60 something years old or whatever, and you got to go to some man to get something repaired in your fucking house. And you tell me how effective you and your goddamn dog or your girlfriend is going to be about getting a decent price on that shit. You going to get fucked like you like to be back in the day. That's when that payback is going to come. That's when that payback is going to come. How you treat these men today is going to be the shit you pay for later on in life. Because what you going to say to them? I give you some pussy? No. You're going to keep looking for another man who will do it cheaper. Because you know what? Men the one that actually create, fix, and build shit. You don't. And if all you know how to do is pay and lay, once your laying days is over, all you can do is pay, bitch. All you can do is pay. And you're going to pay a premium. Because nobody want to be bothered with your ass. Yeah, Aquatechie, I hope there is. I hope there is a special kind of hell for people who scam elderly people. I really do hope it is. I help elderly people, even if they kind of rude. I'll still help them. Why? Say elderly, they didn't did their fucking time. In some ways, they get a right to be rude. All the time they spent on this fucking bitch. Hey, my nana told me before that as old as she is, she remember when black folks was Negroes, colored niggas, and everything else. She remember every name we went through. She lived through every name that we've been called and had to deal with it. She told me the story again today about busting this boy's eardrum at school in Arizona because it was hot and she was drinking out of the fountain, which is only given her hot water. The little Caucasian boy came up behind her and told her, "Hurry up, you little Sambo." And she knocked the shit out of that motherfucker in his ear, fucked up his hearing. And this was in Catholic school. Now, her telling me that story from all these, I don't know, let's just say 70 something years ago. It's actually ironic that she's losing her hearing now. I didn't get into which ear she hit that boy in, because that's kind of the irony of the situation. Like I said, speak on her brother. We succeed in spite of the doubt and hate and jealousy and naysayers demand and feel entitled to your success and the fruits of your labor. Get the absolute fuck out of here. Yeah, exactly. Malika. Look, she was telling me some shit that could be considered baiting because I told you both my mother and my grandmother are gynocrats. They are. But even your enemy will tell you the truth. Even your enemy will tell you the truth. Even the devil will tell you the truth because his skill is not in not telling you. It comes in us, compassionate callous. It comes in you making choices, like you making bad choices. That's all it comes in. You got to remember, he's betting on you that humans ain't about shit. That's the bet. The bet is that humans ain't about shit. One group said we were, the other group said we wasn't. So every time you prove that humans ain't shit, you make them win. So he ain't got to lie to you. All you got to do is let you know the choice is there. You gonna make him right or wrong anytime. Anytime. That's why I try to judge the good and bad in people on a scale. How much you do of one or the other. Because you're gonna do some fucked up shit. You are. You're gonna do some righteous shit. You will. But which way do you lean more heavily? And that's just me grading on a curve. The only absolute is death. That is the only absolute. So even Mother Teresa had somebody that she thought was a bitch. Even Gandhi had somebody he would punch in the fucking face. But they tried to go with their better angels and repress that urge to smack the shit out of somebody who was on their goddamn nerves. They did more one than the other. So To me, I guess it goes without saying it was a interesting and informative trip to the grandma's house. In Gandhi's case, he would smack Africans. He had reason. I'm sure he had his reasons. I don't have to like it, but I just have to understand he probably had his reasons, his own personal reasons. So, last thing that I would say that I was leading to was that my grandmother, she said something else that was, I could consider as baiting, right? But it's something that I've known my whole life. And it's about how women in families pick winners and losers. And favoritism is a thing. And she was pointing out the fact that something I didn't know was that how technical my grandfather was. Apparently, my grandfather, my granddad, who taught me how to play golf and let me, it makes so much more fucking sense now, too. He let me build shit in his garage when I would go down to LA and visit him for the summer. He would let me build shit in his garage. He never stopped me. He never stopped me from cutting up these boxes and making these little houses and shit for my GI Joes. He never stopped me from doing that shit. He let me do it. He let me work on his workbench in his garage. He let me work at his desk in his office. He let me do that shit. What she told me today was my grandfather rebuilt his 1933 Dodge or some shit like that. He built the shit, ground up, bought the parts and shit like that, put it together himself. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I've never heard that. Never heard that shit. So he was really technical. Oh, so it comes from that side of the family too. And me telling y'all that, thinking about that story my nana just told me, to tell you guys it made perfect sense why he let me build stuff in his fucking garage. He saw that in me. He saw that same shit in me because that's who he was. He admired that and he encouraged it. Everybody else while I was around discouraged that shit. You know, his scions. Oh, he's just weird. I'm just weird. And you don't know your fucking father then. Now that I know something that I had to hear from his ex fucking wife. Now it all makes sense. Now it all makes sense. When I remember being in LA at the house on West Street, BGS know the street, right? That corner house. I sat at that man's desk in his study and made flip books out of 3x5 cards. He did not get mad at me. He let me sit at his desk. I got to use his scissors. No, I can remember in my head how the inside of his desk was set up. He let me use all that shit, making what my mother would call a mess. You know when he got upset? When he thought I used the flashcards he had that had Japanese on them, that had Japanese words on them that he was studying. I didn't use those. He thought I did. I didn't use those. Other than that, he never stopped me. He let me do that shit. He actually helped and gave me shit to build. So imagine how much more, hearing that story from my grandmother all these fucking years later, how much more it seems he supported what I did when he had me driving down. He didn't have me doing it, I did it. But when he asked me to remodel his bathroom after I was a journeyman carpenter. He asked me to remodel his bathroom, and I did that shit. Every Friday, I drive from the Bay Area down to LA at gas $4 a gallon to go down to my grandfather's house and work in his house to redo the tile in his bathroom. And I barely knew what the fuck I was doing. And he paid me for that shit. It has so much more context now than it did at the time. And I had to hear this story at 50. Never heard it before. Never heard it from his child. I guess that was useless. It was on me to ask about that shit. That means there was a lot more I could learn from him by spending more time with him. Because it was him who taught me how to balance a checkbook. It was him who taught me how to shop for groceries for myself. And it was him who taught me about telling the truth. If you fucking did it, own it. You know what I got when I came back from my grandfather's house for that summer and I had that lesson taught to me and I did something wrong in the house and my mother asked who did it and I said, I told her I did it. She beat my ass and said, if you know it's wrong, you should have did it anyway. She didn't have no use for that honesty shit. Honesty was punished. Men inspire and perpetuate creativity in children, especially in boys, because that instills leadership and competitiveness. I'd agree. You know what else it inspires in boys? Self fucking reliance, self reliance, and confidence. The main thing is confidence. Confidence in your own skills, in your own abilities. Because women don't understand confidence, they see it as arrogance. And I can remember after I was working construction and I actually was an apprentice and I actually built some confidence about myself, about what I am capable of doing, how strong I am physically, how sharp I am mentally, what other grown ass men accept and respect me for doing. My mother called that shit arrogance. And I had to correct her, like, no, it's not arrogance. That's confidence. That's what the fuck it was. They don't like men to have confidence. Because a confident man ain't listening to no woman telling him shit about what he ain't. You can't run that game on nobody else. And I'm not saying this to disparage my mother. Like I told y'all before, I talk to my mother the same way I talk to y'all, which is the same way I talk to my children. You know what's what? I don't bullshit with people. There's no need to. Life is too short to be bullshitting with folks the whole time. But that same shit is understanding why she always pick bums. Bum ass dudes. Because you can run that shit on a bum ass nigga. You can't run that shit on a dude that got anything about himself. That you the end all be all. That's arrogance. That's arrogance. That's not confidence. My confidence in my abilities to know, no, I can do that. And saying it most certainly that I can do this, I won't do that, is confidence in my abilities to know what I'm capable of and what I am not capable of. That's confidence. Just thinking you got to be the best just because this motherfucker is less than you. That's arrogance. And that's why women project more than they actually reflect. Even the moon's light is a projection. It ain't got its own light. It's borrowing it from the sun and just reflecting it. To say, see what I can do? Yeah, you make a good goddamn mirror. Thanks a lot. Exactly, Aquatechy. It's not arrogance if you can do it. It's not. No, if you can do exactly what the fuck you said it was, then it ain't arrogance. It's a fucking fact. Why do you think I like when I play pool, Aquatechy? Why do you think I call every shot? Why do I call every shot? Then you know it ain't fucking luck. That's how you know it's not luck. Because I told you before I did it exactly what the fuck was going to happen. And when it happens that way, you ain't got no debate about what the fuck it is that I know how to do. There is no debate after that. There is no luck. It's skill. And I told you before I did it. And when I did it exactly the way I told you. That's why. I don't want you to think this shit is luck. I want you to know, goddamn it. This motherfucker got something on the ball. You goddamn right. Recognize and respect it. So, what's the lesson in all of this? A few. The first one that jumps to my mind is men, brothers, you need people out there in your life that will sing your praises while you are fucking alive. That will sing your praises while you're alive. It's all well and good if they sing your praises after you gone. Yeah, that's good. Maybe your name will be remembered for a little while. But you need people in your life that's gonna sing your praises while you're alive. Because if they ain't got nothing but shit to say about you while you're here, it don't matter what the fuck they say when you gone. It's falling on deaf ears, and namely yours. Why? Because it's important to know how people value you while you're here to hear it. Gives a fuck about your crocodile tears after the fact. I had no regrets when my buddy Ron passed, except for the fact that he would be gone and I would not get to spend time with him again. My kids would not get to spend time with him again because they loved him. But you know why I had no regrets when he passed? Because I told that man what he meant to me while he was fucking here. There was no guilt when he left. It was just sadness that I have to go on without him. He knew what he meant to me. He knew what he meant to my family. I showed him that respect while he was here to hear it from me. So when he passed, there was no guilt. There was no sorrow. Oh, I didn't get to say this. No, there was none of that for me. I told that motherfucker because I don't believe in leaving shit lingering around. If you ain't promised tomorrow, you better say the fuck you got to say today. Stop waiting on next day, tomorrow, next week, some other fucking time. No, do this shit now. You don't have forever. You might not have the next 15 minutes. Get it out, move on with your life. All that waiting around shit for, well, maybe if you're old enough, or maybe if I fit. That's women shit. Avoiding accountability, responsibility, and giving the next generation something they can build on. So you can have it better for yourself right now. Temporary thinking. Fuck a rainy day. You make hay while the sun is up. That's also insecurities, choosing a person to be with who thinks is weaker than you so you can dominate them in anger, pity, and disappointment. Exactly, Malika. You know too, huh? Like I said, this ain't disparaging on my mother at all. My mother is my mother. Love her to death. Told you, I split somebody's head to the white meat about fucking with her. But I'm not blind, and I'm not a dumbass. And the same way I'm telling it to you is the same way I can tell it to her. Only difference is she'll hang up on me. She won't want to hear that shit. You ain't got to. You live in it. These are your fucking choices. These ain't mine. I lived through this shit. So you can revisionist history and talk shit about me all you want to. It don't make me no difference. I don't fuck with most of y'all anyway. For reasons like that. So keep talking. Because like Malika said earlier, I already know they don't give a fuck. I already do. So why am I worried about what the fuck you gotta say behind my back? You was really that grown about it, you say it to my fucking face. And you're not. So keep talking behind my back. It's exactly where you're supposed to be. Behind me. Watching what I do in spite of your asses. That's the Gen Xer angst. That's the Gen X anger from actually being fucked over and deprived by the people who were supposed to love us and set us up for success. They mostly set us up to fail. And when we didn't fail, they found ways to make us fail, to undermine us so we would fail, because they didn't want us to succeed over them. And if you want to say something real fucked up, I'd like somebody to prove me wrong on this. That's also why we're better parents. How about that shit? Yeah, we're not. I don't have a problem giving a brother praise. I don't, because it takes nothing from me. Like I mentioned it the other day, AM came out with his book. I ordered the shit. Only thing I think the book is missing is his fucking autograph. That's it. Other than that, I'm proud of him for doing it. Just like I'm proud of Dr. Tiasan for doing it. Just like I'm proud of Grinch for doing it. Just like I'm proud of Soul Shader. Just like I'm proud of my boy Chris. I don't have no hate for these people for accomplishing shit. It doesn't take anything off my plate. I'm actually giving them money so I can buy their book, read their shit, and tell everybody else about it. So maybe I can influence one person to go and buy it themselves. That takes nothing from me. It ain't nothing to hate on. Been watching the Angry Man since he was in the shitty car. Shitty car. And he younger than me. What is there to hate on? I don't get I don't get that part. I wasn't raised like that. That is not my mentality. That is a mentality in certain people, but it ain't my group. It ain't my age group. We happy to see motherfuckers make it from nothing. We happy to see them succeed. Wish more of us could. But the hate, your distrust, the undermining, I don't get that part. That part is by me. Y'all can have that shit. With that, him putting out that book, that is one man's worth. His ideas will now live forever, for the foreseeable future, because he actually published a book. You know that? Anybody who reads it will remember it and remember who the angry man is, what he believed in, because it's his words, not somebody else's dictated to him. His words, his thoughts. And he is a very intelligent brother if you've ever watched his show. A lot of layers, a lot of fucking layers. And ain't none of them shallow layers. So that's good. He deserves that kind of immortality. Pastor Callis said, found out when my parents divorced, my dad did all kind of extra shit to get me accepted into Catholic school. And when he told my mom, she suddenly chose to move me to an ATM, shaking my head. Yeah, I heard some shit like that today too. Funny, right? My mother's main angst on why she never wanted to come back from Arizona. My grandmother told me why the fuck she was even sent to Arizona. Divorced. Duh. Couldn't afford all that shit. Duh. Called her mama for help. Duh. Can you take the kids for a while till I can get myself straight? Yeah, cool. Duh. But from the kid side, she just sent me away. She just sent you away, right? Get the fuck out of here. But don't know the context that your mother was like the first black women to be working in certain places where she was in the phone company making money, getting interviewed by newspapers and shit because she's the first black woman, one of the first black women there working. These motherfuckers, and you wonder why she got a hard temperament. You ain't paying attention. That seems like you really self absorbed. Working in fields where they just let black folks in, and it wasn't even black men, black women. But you don't get that shit. Oh, she just didn't do this though. God damn, dude. Make no sense. And when we succeed, they give us looks and attitude and say, how dare you have the audacity to do something right, have confidence, and succeed. Yes, and not give them credit for not helping you. That's all that shit is. Benefits with no deposit, or excuse me, returns with no deposits. Benefits without no legwork, without no support. Like I said before, they only want to stand there and pose with the fucking trophy. But they don't want to be there with you for them 100 something games to get there. What up, Rainfire? Says, salute everybody waiting on Napoleon to start, finishing my holiday. Right on, Rainfire. I fell asleep on Napoleon. It wasn't the movie's fault. It wasn't the movie's fault. I I was tired as shit. I fell asleep in the movie. I got to go back to see that shit because I was enjoying it until I fell asleep. And then I was mad at myself for falling asleep. So enjoy. Um, I tell you this. No, that'll spoil it. It's right in the beginning too, but it'll spoil it. I just we'll talk tomorrow, Rainfire. We'll talk tomorrow, and I'm gonna ask you a question tomorrow about that first 20 minutes of that fucking movie, and we're gonna see what you got to say about that. So yeah, we'll talk tomorrow. Enjoy the movie, man. Enjoy the movie. Take some notes. Anyway, it's life, y'all. It's life and it's family shit. This is why I wanted to get into psychology to understand how goofy this shit can be and what leads people to do these kind of things. That's what psychology was for me. It was to find fucking answers for the questions I had because the people who had the answers wouldn't give them. They wouldn't, and they'd be tainted because they're too worried about protecting their own fucking image and ego. They're not going to be truthful. Women get truthful when it's close to dying. No other time. So it is an interesting thing. But anyway, let me go ahead and get suited up and get my stick and get my ass out of here, be with my homeboy, and have a good time doing some shit. Um, like I said, one of the takeaways. What's up, Azurius? That's a good one. That's a good one. And that's why y'all tight, Anthony. That's why y'all tight. Because she got that. That's why. Here's the thing. Most of y'all don't know, right? Most of y'all don't know this. I can share this, and I don't think Anthony or Leslie will get mad at me. Most people don't like Leslie. Why don't they like Leslie? Because Leslie is blunt. She's not going to bullshit with you. She is honest. That rubs some people the wrong way, especially if they full of shit. I love Leslie. Leslie cool as shit. Anthony cool as shit because they're honest. But some people can't handle that. The people who can't handle your honesty is usually the fucking liars in the room. They got too much to hide and couldn't be honest to save their own fucking life. But that's why I fucks with them. So yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't read his comment. Comment was, I know it's late to pass this, but that's what happens when playing zombies with the wife. I was taught give praise where praise is due, no matter the size that it is due for. Exactly. And that's what I do. I always try to give people praise when it's due right there. I will compliment people right there in that moment. Why? I mean it sincerely. It's not bullshit. I mean it sincerely. I don't believe in being insincere. I don't believe in giving bullshit compliments. I don't. So if I said that shit, I meant it. It is sincere because I want you to know that shit coming from me. And that is, oh, it's just some nice shit to say to make you feel good. No, motherfucker, I'm a Scorpio. I don't believe in that make you feel good bullshit. It's your job to make yourself feel good. I shout out and recognize the shit that I see. Period. So you don't have to go a long time. I wonder if this motherfucker actually thinks I'm cool. I wonder if he actually loves me. I wonder if he actually appreciates me. No, I tell motherfuckers that shit up front. I'm not looking for anything back for that shit. I'm just telling you so you know. So you never have to question. You never have to wonder where the fuck you stand. That's my homeboy right here trying to text me. These other texts didn't go through. Yeah, life is too short to be lying. It is. And what up, BMT? What up to my trigger man? Yeah, living the truth is harder than living in ignorance. It is. It is hard. It's a hard road. It's like saying that knowledge is a burden. Knowledge is a burden because once you have that burden of knowledge, you are responsible for doing something different. You cannot act ignorant if you know that that's not the way to do it. It's a burden. It will cost you. Can't do that shit. What up, pragmatic? So I'll say this and I get out of here because I gotta connect with my homeboy and get the shit straight where we playing pool tonight. But first thing takeaway is be around people who celebrate your praises while you're alive. Be around those folks. Life is too short for you to be dealing with a bunch of people that don't want to say nothing good about you while you're here and then crocodile tearing when your ass is dead. Fuck them. Fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. The other one is, this will be hard, but you have to try to do it. Uncover them fucking secrets in your family. Talk to your seniors in your family and try to get that knowledge. And as much as you can, write that shit down so you can pass it to the next generation. Good, bad, indifference, it doesn't fucking matter. You need to know that shit. 50 goddamn years, I did not know that my grandfather, mind you, his mother was full-blooded Cherokee. Red hair. Well, excuse me, not full-blooded Cherokee. She's mixed. Cherokee and Irish. Red hair, freckles. Didn't know that shit. 50 years on this planet. Didn't know that shit until tonight. And it didn't come from my mama telling me. It came from my grandmother telling me. That's too fucking long not to know shit like that. Too fucking long. So learn your family. Know your family tree. I know it's all disconnected and broken up in the black family in America, but learn your goddamn family tree. Write it down for yourself. If not for yourself, for your nieces and nephews or whatever fucking children you might have one day. Write it down for them. You need to know that shit. Even if it goes back to fucking slavery, who gives a good goddamn? Learn it. It's important. Know what your family has done in life. Other members of your family have done in life. So you don't have to grow up being one of these disconnected ass fucking children who think that you just spontaneously dropped on this bitch and you're connected to nothing. Nothing to look back on, nothing to stand on, nothing for you here. Learn that shit. It's important. And the other thing is just for just us men in our personal lives and whatnot. Don't be one of these motherfuckers that take advantage of elderly people, especially not no elderly women. That's some lowest form of life shit. Don't be that dude. Don't be that dude. Trust and believe they can be a pain in the ass to deal with sometimes, but don't be that motherfucker to take advantage of them. And don't let nobody standing next to you be the one to take advantage of them either. No, because one day your ass will be there. One day that'll be your fucking grandmother, your sister, your auntie, your mama. And you would hate to find out some scumbag motherfucker was trying to run them for their money. And last but not least, to all the strong, independent women, yeah, stay on that bullshit and see where the fuck it gets you. Stay on that bullshit. Stay on that bullshit and see where it gets you. Because 86 solo ain't the look. It's not the look. Your dog, your cat, your girlfriends ain't helping you do a goddamn thing, but keep listening to you crying about what you don't fucking have. Keep thinking men ain't worth shit. You won't have one. And then you won't have to worry about the shit. And then you get what the fuck you get. I'm out of here. I got to talk to my homeboy. He blowing up my phone, and I need to tell him I know where we're going to shoot pool at. So thank y'all for coming through, listening to my fucking thought process. Um, I appreciate y'all for coming through, listening to my little shit on my little channel. I do appreciate that. I will see you guys tomorrow night or tomorrow morning on Shop Talk Live. And y'all have a good night. Peace.